Most people think that manifestation is about thoughts. But if your nervous system doesn't feel safe, your thoughts just don't stand any chance. Hi, and welcome to that new series. I just wanted to do a few videos on how the nervous system really works, because we talk about the nervous system everywhere. It's everywhere in 2025. Everyone is like, oh, your nervous system is against you, and your nervous system is not allowing you to do such and such in your life. And it's because it's protecting you. We see that over and over again. Your nervous system is protecting you. Your nervous system is the reason you can't do this. But why? What is it about the nervous system? How does it work? Why is it doing what it's doing? And how I think it's really important and it's really interesting when we understand really what's going on in our brain and in our body. It really helps to understand what we really mean by the nervous system is protecting you. And it just helps to have compassion, to understand where it's coming from, to understand the physiology. And so that's why I'm making those new videos. I hope they will be useful, and let me know if you have any questions. So most people think that manifestation is about thoughts. So that's in our head. But the thing is, if your nervous system doesn't feel safe, your thoughts just don't stand a chance. I want to walk you through your body like it's an operating system, because once you get this, everything starts making sense. Why you spiral, why you numb out, and why no amount of positive thinking really stick if your body doesn't feel on board with you. So let's start really simple. Your nervous system, I've got a little graphic here. Excuse my drawing. Your nervous system is made of two big parts, basically. So we have the central nervous system. This is made of this brain and the spinal cord. The blue things in here. It's made of the brain and the spinal cord. And its function is to process information and control voluntary muscle movements and sensations in the body. Then we have the peripheral nervous system. So it's basically all the nerves outside of the central nervous system, so outside of the brain and spinal cord. And what they do is that they transmit signals from the central nervous system to the rest of the body. So those two are communicating between each other all day long. We are going to dive a bit more into the peripheral nervous system. So the peripheral nervous system is divided into the autonomic nervous system, which controls involuntary functions of the internal organs. So remember, this is part of the peripheral nervous system. So it's all the nerves outside of the brain and the spinal cord. All of this makes the autonomic nervous system and the somatic nervous system. Somatic being the control of conscious perception and voluntary movement of the skeletal muscles. So as it says in the names, somatic has to do with the body, and autonomic, auto, it's involuntary functions. So let's focus on the autonomic nervous system, because that's what interests us here. So the autonomic nervous system regulates involuntary physiological processes like the heart rate, your blood pressure, your breath, and the digestion. And it is further divided into two sympathetic nervous system. So that's the well-known fight or flight response, which increases the heart rate and it's mobilizing energy for you to take action. And then we have the parasympathetic system, and this is known as the rest and digest. So it's a calming effect on the body and it promotes rest and digestion. So it's energy conservation on that side. So most of the things that we are going to discuss in that series has to do with those two. So the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system and how they balance each other. But to really understand how this affects your day-to-day life and your ability to manifest, create, or just be calm, let's zoom in on the brain itself. We're going to talk about 3 layers in the brain, and I'm going to use my hand to represent them. So we have the brain stem, that makes our survival brain. It's also called the reptilian brain because it's just the most ancient part of our brain. And its role is to keep you alive. So it controls the heartbeat, the breathing, and the basic instincts. And then we have the limbic system, so that's where the amygdala and the hypothalamus are, and that's the emotional brain. So the amygdala here, we will talk about it a bit more later, but what it does is basically it's constantly scanning for any threat in your environment, and it's remembering memories with emotions. And then we have the prefrontal cortex. So that's part of the logical brain. So it's about planning, creativity, possibilities. It's accessible to you when you are in a relaxed state. So what's happening is when your amygdala senses danger, it shuts down the logical brain, which means you lose access to that part, allowing you to be creative, to connect with others, and to dream bigger in your life. So I'm sure you've noticed, for example, the difference in between when you are in a group of people that you feel confident with, you feel relaxed, and you're able to think, you're able to put your thoughts together in a way that it's easy for you to voice whatever you're thinking. It just flows. Versus when you are in a setting where you don't feel that comfortable for different reasons. So maybe you don't feel comfortable sharing what you want to share. Maybe you don't feel good showing who you are. You might feel judged, or you're just stressed that you need to say the right thing or do the right thing. But because you feel that stress in your body, and because you don't have access to that prefrontal cortex, it's more difficult for you to voice your thoughts, really. It's like you're trying to put A and B together, but it just doesn't flow. And instead of having the possibility to express yourself clearly, you just find yourself hyper focused on things like, oh, why do I have so much saliva in my mouth? Or is there something on my nose? Or this noise outside of me is really annoying. And you can't really express yourself the way you want to express yourself. And this is because you are in a survival mode. So you don't have access to that creative part, which allows you to communicate your ideas, and especially new ideas, in an easy way that feels like it's just flowing. And so the same thing happens with a manifestation. When your body is stuck in survival, you just don't have access to the part of your brain that allows you to imagine a different situation, to create new opportunities for yourself, or just maybe just believe in new possibilities. And it's just because your nervous system is overloaded already. So when we talk about manifestation, about healing, or maybe just wanting to feel alive again, we can't start with the mind. We have to start with the body. In my next video, I'm gonna show you exactly what happens to your body and your brain under chronic stress, and why so many women are feeling like they're stuck on autopilot. If you like this video and you wanna know more, hit subscribe so you don't miss the rest of this series. And let me know in the comments if you want me to break down more nervous system science in simple, practical ways.